Hi, welcome to Try It, Buy It, Make It, Sell It. And today I am here to do ASMR crafting with you. One of the ways I manage stress and anxiety is crafting. One of my favorite crafts is to take old jars and upcycle them. One of the jars that I've done, well actually it's the first jar that I've done, and I tinted it and just added different things to it. And so tonight, I'm going to do just a tinted jar and show you how you might be able to find comfort in this. First, you'll need glue. And this is the tacky glue. You will need paint brushes. You will need dye. You will need a jar that you've used and that is cleaned out. Now, I didn't finish. This is a very old jar and I'm using it as an example, but it still actually has some of the glue from the labeling on it, but that's okay because I'm only using this as an example. But when you actually go to do a really nice one, you want to make sure all of the surface is cleaned off. And you can clean it off with soap and hot water and let it sit in that overnight, and sometime that will loosen the paper up. Sometime you can take a Brillo and soap and water and scrub it off. But it definitely has to be a clean surface if you want to actually put them up in your house as a design. One of the things that I love to add, and this is going to be a simple jar, but I love to add glitter. And this is a very inexpensive craft that you can do. You can find all of this stuff at the dollar store. So it would cost really no more than maybe $5 for all of this stuff. And keep in mind, the jar is reused, so normally people throw them out or recycle them. So it's a very good craft to do to upcycle your jars. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I had to poke a hole in the glue so the glue would come out. And I do this, I don't measure anything, I'm used to doing it. But you want to start with very little glue. And the reason why I say that is when you actually go to add the dye, you don't want it to be too wet because it will take a very long time to dry. And for some reason, this one has been giving me trouble coming out of the top of the where I poked the hole, so I just opened it up. But I'm going to put some glue in there, and that was about 2 big squirts, but I don't want to add a lot because I've done it before and it ends up way too wet. and then too it will travel back down into the jar. So this is about how much I put in, and a little bit goes a long way. So for my colors, I'm going to add red, and that was 4 drops. And I'm going to add 4 drops of blue. Now, before you use the dyes, and you may prefer a specific color, you can go online and look up how to mix the dyes to find the colors that you want. Okay, so now I'm just going to stir this around in the glue. Stir it all around until there's no more white left. And I wanted purple, and I'm getting purple. Okay, so you can see that. So now I am going to start painting from the bottom and paint around the jar. And like I said, you'll be surprised how far this goes, because again, you're not really painting, you just want a nice tint to it. So I'm starting from the bottom, and I do the inside of the jars when I'm tinting. Sometimes I do the inside of the jars when I'm painting as well. I just like how they look. It's much cleaner. So I'm going in a circular motion. Okay, I'm going all around. I'm starting from the bottom to the top, but I'm doing the bottom right now in a circular motion just to bring it up a little bit more. And then I'm just going to start to paint upwards. Painting upwards. And so far, you see. Okay. And I'm going to continue painting upwards, and now I'm just going back in a circle as I get this upwards. And what I usually do too is I will put the jar upside down, but sometimes you have to be real careful, because if the dye is super wet, it will come out of the jar if you don't catch it. So you want to go really slow with that. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to turn it around and do that. And it's coming up. Because usually, most of the time, I don't even use the paintbrush. I'll just let the glue go all around the jar. But today I'm going to do it this way because it really takes a long time to do it the other way. So I'm still coming up the sides. And I just want to say to you that crafting for me and many other people really helps to relieve anxiety. I have anxiety. I get anxiety. And this is one of the things that really helps me to calm down and focus. And with everything going on in the world right now, it's good if you can find something that will help draw your attention away from it. Stress is very bad for the body. Anxiety is very bad for the body. And I know we want to know what's going on in our world and all the events that are taking place, but you don't want to spend your whole day, even a lot of your time, trying to keep up with that, because the world's going to do what it does. People are going to do what they do. And we need to be up to date, but we also need to keep ourselves from watching the things continuously that are going to bring those kind of thoughts into our head all day long. I can't tell you how to live, but I'm just making a suggestion because I know how damaging that can be. What you feed your mind is going to be the thoughts about what you have all day. So if you find something calming like this at night to do, especially if you're having trouble sleeping and bringing yourself down, things like this can actually help you settle down before you go to sleep. Because a lot of times, if you're watching things that are negative or things that are scary, things like that, a lot of times that could be the reason that you're having trouble getting to sleep. And watching the news all day, that could be why you're stressed or worried. And it's a lot, it's a lot. But you gotta get a good night's sleep even to deal with life. Now I struggle with insomnia to some form, not that I can't fall asleep, but because my mind will try to overwhelm me with chatter, just chatter, and I don't know if everybody has it, but my mind tries to chatter and tell me what to do, but I have to get control of it. So a lot of times I meditate, and I meditate on the words from the Bible. That's my thing. I'll sit and meditate on healing scriptures about anxiety, things that will help my mind to focus. And once I'm in bed, I don't have any trouble falling asleep. I did at one time, but for a short period of time, but I normally don't. So these things can be very comforting, very helpful, and I suggest that you try it. And now I'm at the end of the jar up here, just have to paint around the rims. And like I said, this is just to tint, not really to paint, just tint. When this dries, it turns into a tint. Okay, so I'm just finishing up the top, and I'll show you the inside of the jar. But upcycling is nice because you can use all types of things around the house. And a good resource that has a lot of arts and crafts on them that you can learn is Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I find a lot of things there. YouTube also has some really good craft channels that you can go to and watch. And especially upcycling, like I said, in a time right now where things are tight, but finding a hobby can really make a difference for some people. So I hope you can find something to help you if you are going through worrying, stressing, anxiety, depression. I also deal with depression, but I've learned to keep all that under wraps with different things. And like I said, one of them is meditation on the word. One of them is crafting, baking, cooking, walking, exercise. There's so many different things to do. Okay, so this about wraps up the jar. Painting, tinting. Okay, I'm going to get the top too there. And I'm going to show you the inside. Again, a little goes a long way. Now, I haven't done a purple one yet, so we're going to see how it dries. And some people dry it in the oven, and I don't know if that's what you want to do. You'd have to look up how to dry a tinted jar in the oven. I let mine sit out and dry for days. But again, if it was too wet, it takes forever to dry, and then all the glue will travel all the way down and sit there, and you don't want that. So less is more, and this was like I poured it out twice and showed you how much I had in there. So I think that might even be about a tablespoon that I poured out, maybe a tablespoon and a half. Okay, and now another thing I like to personally add is glitter. So I'm going to take the glitter now. I tried to do it before when I first started out by adding it to the paint, but if you do that, it will dry the paint out. So before you paint the whole thing. So the best way that I found to do it is to add it after. And then I just kind of, again, circle it around. And that's in the bottom. So I'm just going over it a little bit in the bottom. And I'm going to mix it in. And again, usually, once you put it in there, it's going to, stick to the bottom. So you're going to do the bottom first. However you want to do it all the way around, it's going to be really pretty and glittery. It's going to change the texture a little bit too. So if you can see the glitter, and maybe not, I don't know if you could see it, but it's in there. So now I'm going to add it to the sides, and what I'll do is I'm going to take it and pour it around the sides, okay? I just pour it all around the sides like that. And depending on how glittery you want it, you just pour it all around the sides everywhere. Now, sometimes, again, less is more, or you're going to get a full sparkle tint. If you love sparkle, then just use the whole thing. If you're not a big sparkle person and you just want a little sparkle, use accordingly. So that's my completed jar now. And it's going to sit sometime. The last jars that I did took about 4 days to completely dry. So again, if you want it done faster, look it up and find out how to dry it in the oven, and then you can decorate the outside. So my jar is complete, and when it's done, I'm going to decorate the outside in a few days, and when I do, I'll try to come back and show you what I've done. But this gives you the base of what you can do, and you can use your own imagination to do what you would like to do. You can put stickers on them. You can put candles. I personally shouldn't say candle. No, I don't advise that because, again, there's glitter in there and there is dye and all that. And I've seen things where people have done things maybe if you weren't going to light them, but I don't recommend those. But I do recommend the tea candles that are LED. And these are the LED ones. And you could put something inside and stick them on top, which is what I do. And I've used string. I've cut out paper and glued it to the jar. So there's many variations of what you can do with the jar once you're finished. So like I said, you can find that on Pinterest. And so I'm done, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and that we can do this again. Thank you for tuning in, and get some rest. Good night.